Today, we're going to be vibe coding with Claude Fable 5. Now, this is based on something that has made me millions of dollars personally and funneled a lot of customers into many of my different businesses. I want you to understand exactly what's going on here because in the vibe coding community, a lot of people tend to overcomplicate things rather than focusing on one little thing they can take to market and make a business. Instead, they set out and create some ginormous thing over time that never gets finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on one problem, one solution, take it to market, and get paid. This is exactly what I did with various different WordPress plugins over the years. And yes, WordPress plugins are a ginormous business. I was just looking it up today because I thought maybe AI had changed it. However, we could see that some people are saying there's as many as 10,000 new WordPress websites published every day, and that WordPress powers roughly 43% of the entire internet. In fact, a lot of my sites are created on WordPress. We've been using this for a long time, and it works really, really well. This is a $1.3 billion market hiding in plain sight. Now, the reason Claude Fable is so good for this is because Claude Fable's biggest point is not just that it's a really smart programmer, it's also that it can spot vulnerabilities. This is important because when you create code, you want to make sure that it's safe, secure, and there's nothing that's going to go wrong. Now, just to show you the power of this, my programmer and I had been working on this Clipter project for a long time, and we really couldn't take it to market because it was too slow. Right? We'd go in here, you'd refresh it, it'd take forever to load. Now, we were able, as you can see here, to get the load time down really, really quickly. And the way we did that was by going to Claude Fable version 5 and asking it, what is the problem? What I did is I took the entire zip code project, threw it at Claude, said, what's going on, forced it to go into Fable mode, and it actually figured it out and fixed it within a matter of minutes. This is something that had been delaying the launch of this project, which this is going to be my next 7-figure, maybe even more project. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be vibe coding that in public as well. But what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the power of the Claude Fable 5. Now, I went through with Claude Fable 5 and I created a WordPress plugin that I wanted to make for myself today, which you can notice over here. This is a little exit pop or intro pop plugin. What I wanted is I wanted it to be able to go on the entire website and be able to change different types of things. I'll show you how that works in just a minute. First, let's talk about this opportunity and what this is. There is a massive industry in the WordPress plugin market. Before we talk about Claude and all of that, I want you to know that the WordPress industry is not a side hustle. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. There are companies like Awesome Motive that have WP Forms, Opt-in Monster, Monster Insights, and they're doing like $100 million a year. Elementor also is one that's doing like $100 million a year, and on we go. There's even little ones out there that I've had throughout the years that have made money. I've seen other ones that have made money. There are tons of them out there. Now, if you want a little like backdoor into seeing what's actually out there and what people want, what I like to do is go to Ahrefs like this and put in wordpress.org/plugins. Now, you can do the same thing by going and putting in AppSumo. You can put in Code Canyon, all of these different sites that sell lots of different codes. If you put them in here, you can actually see what ranks and what they search for. So we could see here, like, a lot of people are looking for Google Translate plugins, very popular, some kind of font plugin, WordPress, WooCommerce, Envato, that's also owned by the one I mentioned earlier, Code Canyon, and on we go. So there's a lot of things people want. And what I like to do is I like to find something that's very straightforward and very simple. In fact, right here I can see WP Mail SMTP. This would actually be a good one to tackle because with the new email requirements for SPF and DKIMs and all these things, which if you do email, you know what these are. If not, you can figure it out and make a plugin around them. What this would do is allow you to do some kind of mail plugin or something like that. Or this one here for Rank Math. This is a very simple plugin that's all about SEO stuff. Here's another one, all-in-one SEO. A lot of people don't know this, but one of my first most popular videos next to my AdSense one back in the day was a video about this plugin. So these are things that work good. And lo and behold, take a look at this one with 1,200 searches, WordPress pop-up plugin. Now, what we're doing here is we're actually creating a pop-up plugin. You can see the prompt is actually very simple. We named it Exit Voodoo. And what I did is I went here and said, I want an inline exit pop generator plugin that allows to have multiples, turn off and on, add HTML and everything like that. Now, going through here, I noticed that Claude Fable 5 was not only smarter, but it went through and fixed the errors, and on first load, this thing worked. Right here, you could see this is the first version of the plugin. I loaded it, we're ready to go. And the way it works is actually very simple. You're gonna see with Blog Profit Network and other things I've done, I've been doing WordPress plugins since I believe it was around 2010 or 2011 when I first started getting into it. I think it was actually 2010 because I started teaching it in 2011. Now, this is one of our plugins here. That's the Blog Profit Network plugin. We can see over here what happened with the one we created with Claude Fable is I actually went through and had it create its own sidebar. So if we go in here and install it, what we're going to do is we're just going to go to, let's go to plugins over here, right, like this. And a plugin is just a zip file. That's all it is. That's how a WordPress plugin works. You can also do mods to other codes and things like that. And I think a lot of people are trying to invent this giant thing rather than just piggybacking on something that already works. Like if I make something based on WordPress, like rank math up here, well, then now I automatically have a lot of customers that I can tap into. If I make something based on a member or a Weber or anything that's going on out there, maybe you make a patch for Shopify or something like that. When we start to think about piggybacking on something else, it makes our job a lot easier and it doesn't go all over the place, right? Like when we go out to vibe code something, there's so many different ideas you can do. There's so many different directions you can take. It's overwhelming. And what most people don't do is they don't look at the data of what's actually going to sell. Like I know right now, at least 1,300 people or 1,200 people a month, almost 1,300, are searching for WordPress pop-up plugin. Now, if I do other ones, like maybe I just go through with the Keywords Explorer and I say like WordPress pop-up or something like that, right? I can go like that and I could see, okay, overall, we have a little bit more searches here. So quite a few searches that are going on under this keyword. We have a built-in market. Now, a lot of people don't know they need this plugin, so I can get WordPress users that might want it as well. Now, going through here, again, what it looks like is a zip file. We're going to go in and click on Add Plugin, and I think I might need to download this. I don't know if I did on this computer. There we go. It just downloads the zip right there. We are going to hit Upload Plugin, choose File, and then bada bing, bada boom, we choose that, Install, and we should be good to go with it installed, and you'll be able to see how it works. Now, when I create plugins, I like to have a little link in the sidebar. So when you activate it, you're going to see it's going to put a link on that sidebar over here. Should have that for us, right? Like this. Let's see here. All right, there we go. So we should be able to do right like this, and there we go, Exit Voodoo right there. Okay, so now Exit Voodoo has several things, add new, how it works. So this would be like our demo page where we could put like, you know, if you're giving it away free, you could build a mailing list and sell other plugins. It's very straightforward. Again, remember, I've been doing this for a long time. When I say that I've made $1 million with WordPress plugins, I don't want you to think you're gonna go make a plugin in an afternoon and tomorrow have $1 million. And that doesn't work that way. Most people trying to make money online, most people vibe coding and trying this stuff make nothing. However, we're going to look at what actually works so that you can understand what's going on. Now, when we go through here, we can see the intro, add new. So if I wanted to add a pop-up, let's say we wanted to go here, here's our main page. If I wanted to have a pop-up here, I can call it Marcus Test or something like that. Test. There we go, test. And then I can go through and say I want it on all, so this turns it on, okay? And then if I want all intent, that means like as soon as they load the page, boom, the thing loads. Exit intent would mean like, oh, they go to leave, boom, it pops up. Now, it was important that I had these as inline pop-ups because we didn't want anything that messes with the site behavior or browser behavior. I'll show you what that means in just a minute. When we look at all intent, that means it'll show for everything. If we have catch-all, that means it'll show on all posts. If I want it to be on specifics, I can type them in here. Very simple. We're going to do catch-all, so it's just on every page. Like I want every time someone loads my site for the next day, I want them to sign up for this new thing or join a webinar. Much like I have over here, where you could see join Saturday's live workshop. Boom, there you go. And you'll notice it does not show again except like the next hour. So if I see it here, it's not going to keep showing for the next hour for that person. But if they do see other pages, it will show on all of the pages. That's what the catch-all does. Now, going through here, that's where you set your timing, your width, size, everything like that. Now, this is what it looks like for now, like wait before you go. Create pop-up, and you'll see that'll just make it to where it loads right on there. Again, we can go through and fix up, the coloring and put an image in there, whatever we want. It's all editable via text and visual, so you can put the code or you can put the text or whatever you want. Very cool stuff. It makes it really, really straightforward and easy. And now I have a plugin that's instantly something that all of these people searching would actually want. Very important. And you can go through and find different things like, okay, WordPress fastest cache. Okay, yeah, maybe it'll go through and find a way to be faster or whatever it is. Going through looking at that, you have really simple SSL. That's something you can use as well. And on we go. Here's people looking for an SEO plugin. Maybe you can make one that's very simple for them. Or you could go through and sort these by volume, see, okay, what are people actually looking up most? Maybe there's realtors who want to tie into their real estate listings or something like that. Very straightforward, very cool. What we want to do is we want to make something simple like this. Very simple, take it to market. Maybe give it away and build a mailing list and then make a better version later. That's what Bill Gates did with Microsoft DOS. Everyone got it free. When he came out with Windows, boom, instant big seller, right? That's what we want to look at here. And that's what we want to focus on. What we want to do is we want to look at the business that we're running. We can do software as a service if we want to do like a monthly thing or whatever it is. Going through there is very important. Now, when we look at Claude Fable 5, what I'm noticing is it makes stuff very, very robust, very strong, very fast, and oftentimes it works right out of the gate. And if you understand how to kind of work with this and look at like this one had a little error, I think it might be on my WordPress, but some of these things timed out. But what I could do is I could go through and maybe put some links on here, like, oh, my favorite plugin is this, or go to my website to get tips or whatever. And you can kind of see and test and go through whatever you want to go through there. Very cool stuff. Or maybe you can make one like our BPN plugin, which was actually created by Claude as well. And there were some issues we had in it. So in the old Claude version, it wasn't as strong. So I could go through with the new one and fix this up, right? This allows you to completely control your blog. And as you can see, it's branded. So as you go along, you just add the branding and things like that. But when we go through and vibe code plugins, what we want to do is really think about how we can help people, because the vast majority of people out there are not coders, but a lot of people do use WordPress. So for me, I use WordPress and I also use Zoom webinars. It'd be really cool if I could make a plugin that would just take my Zoom webinar and put it on my blog with some notes. And that's the kind of thing you can do with AI. It's really the sky is the limit. And when you start to work with Claude Fable 5, you're going to see this is actually amazing. And we can actually go through and say, now add my branding, and you just give it your logo and add your branding. Or we can go through and do a new one. And what we could do is look at, like, maybe we'll want something for a Zoom or a QR code generator or something like that, right? Like QR code would actually be pretty cool, where you can make a QR code for each page or something like that. AI image generator, that's something people like on their blog. Very straightforward things you can do. Maybe there's like something very, very specific. Now, if we go through and we do this a little bit different, we can do keywords, and then I can do like WordPress plugin, and then I can even try like the word plugin. Plugin. Did I spell that right? Plugin. Yeah, we did. I think, right? Did I spell it right? Yeah. So plugin not working in WordPress. Okay, well, there you go. You can even help people. You could have like a service where you use Claude Fable 5 to help them. Here's Yoast SEO, and you can kind of see what people would want. And then if we say, okay, best SEO plugin for WordPress. Okay, so I could go through and say, what kind of SEO plugin would I want to make for WordPress? I want to make a really cool SEO plugin for WordPress. And then you could say that allows them to put the keyword in title. Descript allows the AI, let's use Gemini API to find backlinks they can use or places they can post. It can also show current rankings, ECT. This is something that works really well, and this is something I was messing with earlier with Claude Fable 5 as well, where I was making a plugin that would track all the visitors on the site. So it was like, okay, this is on your site. It'll find all the people on your site right now. It'll list them, show the pages they're on, everything like that. Kind of like a tracker that's pretty straightforward and easy. But again, really focusing on like, I want to take something to market, obviously make sure it's secure and good and everything like that. But I want to take something to market as soon as possible and get people testing it. That's really the key to go through. And with Claude Fable 5, what you can do is you can look for gaps, fill them with a really good plugin. A lot of plugins do have flaws. Like there's SEO plugins that are out there that I've used that I don't like. Right? I used Rank Math. It has some cool stuff, but I found there were some things that I personally do that I didn't like about it. So going through and saying, okay, how can I make it better? What could I do? Using Claude Fable 5, the fact that both myself and my programmer couldn't figure out why Clipter was being slow and Fable 5 found it was a game changer. I mean, it was absolutely like, okay, now I can go through and build this stuff up, make it work, and boom, we're ready to go. And I mean, now I can take this to market where before I couldn't. So this is something where, I mean, absolute game changer. Now, when we go in and use the different APIs, it starts to get even better where we're like, okay, now I can go through and maybe make a security patch or something like that. Or maybe you can go through and make one that checks vulnerabilities. Watch this. This would actually be really cool. So if we went through with Claude Fable 5 and I said, I want to make a WordPress plugin that checks for vulnerabilities in my WordPress using the Fable 5 API, the user can put in, and it checks all plugins, pages, files, directories, and gives tips and help. And it'll go through and it'll do that for you, because that's really what they sold Fable 5 on, is the fact that like it can go through and find flaws in your stuff and fix it. Now this one actually switched, so we're going to do Fable 5. Retry with Fable 5. More models. We want to make sure we do that. Save, and let's see if it switches. It should stay in Fable 5. Sometimes it'll switch back, so you do have to kind of do that. Now, what I would do if it keeps switching back, I would make it an Opus, and then I'd give that file to Fable 5 and have it fix it, right? Because sometimes, like, you just need Fable 5 to look it over. It's kind of like, you know, you go to the dentist for the cleaning, and then the dentist comes in for, like, the checking. But the person, like, the helper does the cleaning. Fable 5 is kind of like the dentist coming in to be like, hey, bro, you got the cavity or whatever. So starting to look at that is key, and that little tip alone will actually save you credits and things like that. Now, let's take a look at what our SEO ones it's going. Sometimes it takes a while, but I mean, what you're getting is really cool, and it's going to go through. It'll have the Gemini API and everything like that all up to date, and maybe we can make like a little SEO plugin or something that would help. Thinking about one problem, one solution is everything. Like, I know over here we saw that there was, on this list, it was something about like vulnerability news or something like that. Let's go by traffic. It was, let's see, Forminator. That was actually, that was a pretty big one. I use that still to this day. There was one over here that talked about the news of the issues. You could probably just do a search for like WordPress vulnerability. Let's hope we spelled that right. Yeah, there you go. WordPress vulnerability 2800, news 1600. All of these people would be super interested in a vulnerability checker plugin. So this is something that potentially can work really well. Again, remembering this is a business. Well, I've made a lot of money. Lots of people have made a lot of money. Most people make nothing. We need to understand it has to do with really finding that niche, finding that need, serving the need, using Fable 5 to fix it up, and then delivering that, right? You got to get traffic to it. But again, I think it has a lot to do with really finding the need. The need is everything. A lot of people think, oh, well, this is cool. Cool doesn't really sell. Need sells. So looking at that, there's a lot of ways you can make money with it. You could do the freemium model where you give it away and then sell other stuff. Like if I did the vulnerability one, bro, like, come on. I could go through, if we were to go to like SpyFu like this, and we type in like WordPress, WordPress security, you could probably see there's a lot of people looking at this stuff, and it's going to trigger a really good amount. So there's like almost $5 a click. WordPress security. Let's check with ChatGPT. Let's say, what would people search for related to WordPress security, vulnerability, ECT, even thinking of the services that help with this, like cybersecurity kind of thing. But going in like, okay, if we can find like, okay, I give this away free, but it's not going to find everything. So maybe we can get them into the services that actually do that for them. Okay, that's a really good way to get into that market. And going through and being like, okay, WordPress security, we could do WordPress security plugins. There's one there. And okay, 427. Let's see the other keywords here. Cleanup service. So you have like WordPress site with some issues like that. Okay, that's got quite a bit of traffic there. And you can make a little fix-up plugin or something. That would be something that would work really good if you can make a fix-up plugin that would get rid of other stuff. And again, like Claude Fable 5 is perfect. That's what it does. It's literally what they build it as. So now we can go through and find these other keywords, find some that are expensive and lead to it. So you could even do like WordPress, best security, WordFence. Okay, so WordFence, that's probably going to trigger, that's the whole industry that this is around. WordFence, WordPress security, Cloudflare, WordPress firewall. It's an interesting one. I've been using WordPress a long time. Never heard of that. Let's see if that triggers a lot. 737, so it is getting higher. And again, all you would need to do is like, you could have a site that's just a directory where the plugin lists what it is, takes it to the directory talks about how to fix it or whatever, and you could have ads on it and it would trigger pretty expensive ads there, which is cool. So going through here, like WordPress malware removal. All right, there would be a good one. Let's see if that gets searches. Does get some. Very low competition on this as well. Let's see what happens here. WordPress malware removal service, $9, almost $10 a click. So this is kind of thinking about this differently. Like I don't need the most perfect plugin. I could just have like a little diagnostic plugin. Obviously, disclaimer that it was made with AI and it's not perfect, but this will actually do a pretty good job of it. So here's one that checks for vulnerabilities. Cool. So let's see what this looks like here. I don't know if we had... So it doesn't look like we had the Fable 5 API in this one, which is fine. Let's do, we'll go to Fable 5 and say, check and see if you can make this better. And while we're waiting, let's go ahead and download the plugin. Fable Security Scanner. Better. There we go. And then we can just test this out here. So we'll go plugins. Where's plugins? All right, come on. My eyes are tired from working all day. There we go. We'll do plugins here, add, and see if that one will load. And sometimes you'll get errors on them, which is why it's good to test these on like a test site. I'm being a little risky here because I kind of trust the Fable right now. Not recommended, but let's see what happens. All right, so installed, activate. Looks like it might be having trouble activating. Let's try it again. I think there might be an issue with my WordPress here. Let's see, where do we go to? The plugins, installed plugins, and we should have Fable. There we go. So it is activated. Let's see if it puts it over here. Fable doesn't really say how to use it. Maybe it's down here. Settings, local voodoo, Fable. Oh, security scanner. There it is. Cool. So run security scan. Settings. There we go. So that's where they would go through and put their Fable API. Boom. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool little plugin I made in like 30 seconds. A little bit longer than that, like 10 minutes or something, right? But that's something you can take to market rather than trying to make some gigantic thing. Obviously, make sure that you know what you're doing. Don't make a security plugin if you don't know how WordPress works, or you're not willing to figure it out, or whatever it is. I would always, before taking these to market, get your stuff set up and then run it by a pro. Like you can go to Fiverr or whatever and have people check these out, make sure they're working good, make sure there's no issues. Just make sure that you find someone reputable because you don't want them to take your idea. We can go through, we can monetize them with freemium. We can do like ClickBank or PayPal or whatever if it's a cheap one, or we can do micro software as a service where we can do like a monthly continuity and make money that way. I would say if you're going to do continuity, you can do like a SEO one and then make it like $7 a month for one site or $27 for unlimited or something like that. Very cool stuff. You can also connect it to an external API. Like you can make your plugin tie into Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever API you want. And then it would be AI enabled. But again, going through, I think that this one is absolutely awesome. Let's see if Fable can make it better. This actually switched into Fable, so it'll go through and make it better. And then we can go through all 5 files pass. And it does actually do a security check on it, which is pretty cool. Like even though you're not asking it, it does seem to be doing that. But creating these is pretty cool. You could even make like a simple membership plugin. I mean, you look at how much membership plugins have made over the years, like MemberMouse or whatever. Again, focus on your data because this shows you what people are actually wanting. So if I do like WordPress membership, like this is one I could make for my clients right now. 4,000 people a month are looking this up. MemberPress is the biggest one. Let's go through and say how many sales and company earnings MemberPress plugin. And we can actually see what kind of sales they're getting and stuff like that. But a lot of times they're really big, which is amazing, right? It's like, okay, this is some little simple plugin and it works really, really well. Thinking about one program, right? So here we could see, it says it does make quite a bit. I don't know. I saw something about like 12 million or something. I don't know if it's that high. Might be higher. I have no idea. But going through it saying, yes, it does have quite a few. Their prices are kind of high. We can go through and make a simple one. Maybe you're making one for people who just want to sell a digital product. Boom, done and done. That's something that you can go through and really look at. But again, the key is really understanding, I need to figure out what people want. I need to make something I can take to market fairly quickly, vibe code it out, get someone to check it out, make sure it's ethical, good, make sure it's secure and runs and everything, does what it's supposed to do, no vulnerabilities, and boom, there we go. But I think that Claude Fable 5 is absolutely a game changer. I talked about making money with WordPress plugins back in my first ChatGPT video back in 2022. And I mean, I've been using it for that ever since. As you could see, the Blog Profit Network plugin, a lot of different plugins that we create. This Snag plugin was one I made where it's like, oh, hey, let's just make one where I can just go in and copy an image, right? Because I wanted to go through and I wanted to be able to take any image that was on my computer, copy it and paste it in there without having to upload it to the media. That went through and it worked really, really, really well. But going through and really understanding this on a different way is key, because once you understand, hey, check it out, these companies are making a lot, there you go, right? So older pages, I mean, they're saying, oh, their customers have earned over 2 billion. Okay. So they're saying an estimate of over $1 million a year. So that's pretty cool. I mean, is that true? Is that what you're going to make? Of course not. We don't know. But some people go on to build something really good. The key is start with something simple, take it to market, get your customers, vibe code it, make it better over time, but at least get something to sell because you need those quick wins rather than trying to make this gigantic thing. And I believe that Claude Fable 5 is a game changer for this. Messing around with it at first glance, it's so much smarter than the older version. Being able to find the vulnerabilities, find out what the issues are, and make something that works right out of the gate, boom, I love that. And if you want to learn more about how I vibe code and make money and get notes from this video, go to aiprofitscoop.com. You can join our newsletter. We send you the notes and the info from all these videos. We really kind of show you what we're doing here, and you can join our paid group if you want. We just kind of show you what we do so that you can follow along and hopefully get some results for yourself. But understanding, looking at the data before you go vibe code something, I think is the big takeaway. And then knowing that Claude Fable 5 will make these for you and going through and saying, okay, here's AI SEO. Boom, now we can go through. This one's ready. They can tie it into their thing. Let's see how this one works here. Let's do plugins right over here and add this one. And we'll kind of see what it looks like if it fit the bill. And I can probably put my Gemini code in there as well. Let's see if it actually does work right out of the gate. And it called it dude. Apparently it knows I'm the affiliate dude. Let's do Gemini API. I'll get us an API we can test with it. Activate. And let's see here. Yeah, I think something on the activation is kind of funny, but we'll see if that works. Okay, let's see. All plugins, installed plugins. AI SEO dude, it is activated. Visit plugin site. That goes to my site. Cool. Let's see where it put it. VPN, security scanner, AI SEO dude. Nice. Got a little icon there. Okay, so you could track a keyword. Nice. So let's do like WordPress SEO plugin. So this will allow you to track a keyword. Boom. Check now. Okay, nice. So we'll just add our Gemini in there. Let's get a Gemini code. I think that's probably going to be in settings. So we'll do settings, Gemini API, optional. That's good. We'll leave it like that. And then let's see if it added it. Looks like it did save it. And then we'll go into rank tracker and check now. It should work if the API is working. It looks like it is working. Nice. So positions 100 plus. Let's do backlink finder. So if I wanted to do WordPress SEO plugin, I want to find backlinks. This will go through, it'll look at my blog post, it'll look at the keyword and say, hey, here's some places to find backlinks. Let's see if this works. This would actually be really cool and super helpful. And again, it's something very simple. We can add on to it later. Let's just get some people using it, get some people, paying for it or whatever. And then there we go. We can even add, like when I went through with the Blog Profit Network one, we went through and added the whole ability to go through and be like, okay, now we can check our content. You could see here, on here, it's got all these like logo generators and everything. And then on all of your posts, when you go in and edit a post, it has this big colorful thing that helps you check the intent, boost your SEO, spin it to socials, make an email, and on we go. And these are all powered with Gemini, very basic, very easy to make. And now I can have this go through and do it. And you can see here, web guide, Optimatrix. So here's all the forums and stuff. I just go post and I'm good to go. This is a plugin I could literally sell today if I wanted to. And then, there's lots of traffic for this, right? If you go on YouTube and you see people doing videos about like backlink finders and things like that, game changer. And this will go through and maybe we can even have it do like a checklist or something that would be really cool. And then you could go there and be like, okay, cool. There we go. Boom. There's a forum. There's a Facebook thing. On we go. This is absolutely changing the game, and it's pretty cool stuff. So again, to learn more about this, check out aiprofitscoop.com. I think Claude Fable 5 is an absolute game changer. Like there is nothing else that's like this that does what this does, which is super, super powerful. I would highly recommend start messing around with it. Build something you can take to market. Even if it's something simple, like maybe there's people who are podcasters who use WordPress, and you're like, oh, this is the instant podcast blog post maker. They can, boom, drop their podcast in there and it'll make, the blog post or whatever. Very straightforward things. And when you start to look at this, you're like, okay, WordPress podcast. Try to see if people are using that. There's 200 people looking up WordPress podcast plugins. There you go. I mean, this is so straightforward. It's like, okay, I just need to make something that's good. Again, remember, takes a while to get these working, takes effort. It's not guaranteed. You have to look at this and understand most people make nothing. We need to look at data and make something people actually want and then take it to them and actively go sell it. So check out AIProfitScoop.com for the notes. I will also put, for this video's notes, I'm going to put a giant list of plugins that you can start making based on data. So you don't have to go research it. You just go to AIProfitScoop.com. I'll hook you up with that list and we'll go from there. Thanks again for watching. Smash the like button. Check out the videos in the description and I'll see you over at AIProfitScoop.com.